Hello to both of you. Welcome. Dr. Bimal KANTARIA, you are an experienced CEO in agricultural field and managing director at Elgon, Kenya. Cyril ROULLET, you're the export manager at the French company FAO. I would like to start right into agricultural value chains and the agri-food sector here in Kenya. So, Dr. Bimal, how can this sector be stimulated and made sustainable?
So, as you know, Kenya's economic direction is in agro manufacturing, agro value add, and that's where the direction of the country is going. So there's much less now agriculture growing in this country. And as a country, we're not really focusing too much on the growing side, but we want to go more into the value add. Government policy, everything around that, including private sector investment, is directed in that side. So we're talking about, for instance, value add in grain, maize, wheat, bread. All that sort of space is where the country is heading towards. We do a lot of value addition in horticulture, floriculture. So we're going in that direction purposefully. To be honest, our economics of growing maize, wheat, horticulture, floriculture are not as competitive as they used to be, which is interesting because that's where a middle-income country is heading towards, and that's the direction as a country. We're now net importers of basic food produce from the region and from overseas. And Kenya's direction is to do value addition to the basic produce in this country, which is really an excellent process. And
how can we encourage entrepreneurship and innovation in agriculture?
There's different areas. One is, of course, from the university school level. One is just general business knowledge. So there's different areas of innovation. Companies like mine, we're investing greatly in university training programs. The country itself, I think we're spending the largest budget annually on education in this country. So if you look at our education levels, they're probably the highest in East and Central Africa. So that's a process of getting to that direction, and agribusiness business itself is a direction that this country is just good at.
That's really impressive. Cyril, you wanted to add something, I think.
Yes, on the social topic, we are here to emphasize the need for post-harvest grain preservation. We believe that this is a very important matter in Kenya at the moment, since we believe that around 30% of the crop that is produced ends up being wasted. And for the 70% remaining, the quality of the grain itself is questionable. We have proofs of infestation by mycotoxins, for example, which is harmful for the population and the cattle. And so we are here to offer this solution and therefore add a link to the existing supply chain or value chain, and therefore also with this link could create jobs, new jobs, and that could be also fruitful for the country.
Dr. KANTARIA, you're very much involved in how you can make smallholder farmers grow and and get involved into agriculture very, very soon. How do initiatives such as the National Farmers Award encourage that?
So National Farmers Award was a presidential scheme that the government ran for many years. About 10 odd years ago, they decided private sector should take it over, so Elgon came in the picture. We now partner with the Ministry of Agriculture, along with many other private sector companies. A lot of the funding comes from companies like Bayer, BASF, some of the big multinationals help us to fund it. But the idea is to show best practices across the country, and by rewarding them with a big honors program, awards program, which runs annually. It's quite an interesting public and private partnership we have. Elgon and our partners, our suppliers, fund it. It costs us about $100,000 a year. And Ministry of Agriculture are the judges. So they go around the country nationwide, county-wise. We send out the application forms. We get in the nominees, and central government through Ministry of Agriculture goes and judges it. Then once a year we have a very big awards ceremony. We bring in all the small villages into Nairobi, a big party. But the top 3 awards, which is interesting, Clara, is the top 3 awards: the best woman in agriculture, best youth in agriculture, and the best physically challenged in agriculture. Those 3 prizes are given by the president himself at the agriculture show in October. So it really is a big thing in the calendar. Ministry of Agriculture is very supportive. They also get funding from the World Bank for it. It's really a fun part of the calendar.
Wow, congratulations. Cyril, how can solutions proposed by FAO solidify the value chain, especially in the cereal industry?
Well, as I said, post-harvest grain loss is about 30%. Therefore, if we put in place the right process lines, which are simple, can be deployed in the countryside for remote communities, for small farmholds, and also for large industrial companies, we will have an excess of 30% more grain available on the market. The beauty of this grain is that it will have been produced in local currency from the field to the silo. Therefore, we will avoid any risk, potential risk in currency exchange, and we will reduce the levels of importations. If the grain quality is better, it means that this grain can be also a good supply to the large industrial feed mills. Feed mills today, they don't buy local grain because the quality standards are not at the right levels. So all this is it goes into the right way, and all it needs now is to make it happen.
So you're definitely an actor in kind of the downstream, and Elgon Kenya has a focus on upstream. Could you tell us a bit more about Elgon Kenya?
So we have a long history. I'm the fourth generation in my company. It was started by my great-grandfather in 1898. If you know the history of Kenya, the British colonials came here to build a railway, and our families like ours came to support the railway workers. A lot of us stayed back. There's a lot of families like mine who are in this country for 125 years, 120 years. Not as old as, of course, FAO is 200 years old. So, but long history in this country. We're now the largest agro-inputs company in this country. We now employ about 700 people. We have offices throughout the region, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia. We're well-established, old companies, but we're constantly innovating. So our growth every year is 10 to 15%. We have top-line growth. Profits are strong, and we constantly are reinvesting in new technology, new machinery. We do fertilizer blending now. We're the largest packaging manufacturers as well for agriculture. It's an interesting space to be in agriculture, and I think this country is in the right direction. We're growing as a country, we're growing as a company, and I'm happy to see my friend here, Cyril, is thinking of investing in our country. So we're very happy that the French companies have decided to establish themselves in Kenya.
That's actually great. You're almost answering the last question. What do you see as the future prospects for the agricultural and agri-food sector in Kenya?
So I think it's going to be less of growing, and I want to talk to Cyril here about how he can put his silos at the border points. Most of our food is now being imported from Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, everywhere. And there's a serious issue of aflatoxin, as he knows. If we can find a way of, is very, very important to me in my mind, because it's solving a big problem that is there right now. But that's where the market is going. We're going to be in value addition. And I think that's where France is very strong at. You're probably one of the biggest in the world for food processing and food manufacturing. We need your ideas, we need your technology to come in and invest in our country.
Do
you want to give your final words?
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Dr. Bimal. I couldn't agree more with what you just said. I think it's true. We have to think regional. Climate change will severely impact all the countries like Kenya, but surrounding countries as well, and we need a global solution to address this matter.
Thank you to you both. Welcome to Inspire and Connect East Africa. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Clara.